Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream repair. We've got 4 HomePods that need to get fixed up here. 4.5 actually. So yesterday we left off the stream with Mark's HomePod here that wouldn't power on. We got it apart and powering on without a problem, and then we noticed that it didn't have any bass. So we called the stream good for the day yesterday and figured we would come back to it when we had a little more energy. And here we are. I was actually playing with it for a few minutes before starting the stream today, and I noticed that my test clips here that I have soldered to the speaker, which are connected to the multimeter that we use to test for DC offset, they were just barely kissing each other there, so that was preventing the bass from working. All I had to do, of course, was just spread those apart, and we'll go ahead and show you guys that Mark's pod is working here again. Didn't have to do anything other than make sure our cables here weren't touching each other. Yeah, this was the last repair from yesterday's stream, if you're curious about watching this one. And you can probably see on the live stream our clips there touching each other. But there you go. We've got good bass. We've got all of our cameras back. So, we're going to kick things off by getting Mark's HomePod put back together, and then we'll crack open the 4 that showed up today. Or actually, one of them was from yesterday, 3 from today. It doesn't really matter. So that's their power supply. Let's get these test parts off. Oh, also, I finally fixed the website. And some of you might be wondering what was wrong with it. So, if you were using an Android device and you tried to navigate to my website, it would redirect you to a different version of the website that I made specifically to fix an issue that I was having on the Android version. But I finally figured out not only the fix for that, but it was also the same fix that made it so when you're scrolling on the website, it doesn't have a whole bunch of extra space on the x-axis, and you end up accidentally like scrolling one way or the other and hiding everything. That bug has been plaguing me since we've gotten that website up, and pretty happy that it was I was able to figure that out and get it fixed. It was really stupid, honestly. Like, this is why people pay people to do this kind of stuff, because they would have immediately known what the problem was and how to fix it. But pretty much in my I think it's my CSS, I just set the overflow X to hidden, which of course basically means any overflow on the x-axis, just hide it, which results in perfect horizontal spacing for the website on both the desktop and mobile now, and it doesn't matter if you're iOS or Android. So every device now sees the same version of the website, which of course also makes it easier for me to maintain the damn thing, because up until now, anytime I made any changes to the website, I would have to update 3 different versions of the website. And now I only have to update 2. So there was the main one, of course, track44.moa. And then there's there's nixfix.com, which sometimes I have on its own domain, and sometimes I just have redirect to track44. I keep finding various reasons why I need it one way or the other, and I keep changing it. And then the third version was, of course, for the Android devices, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. It was a simple fix, but I'm proud of myself. And speaking of updates to the website, I've added a couple of changes to it. So at the common issues, I've reorganized, first of all of the common issues into somewhat more sensical like categories. So you've got some general categories for most of these issues. You've got no power, no sound, no bass, bass issues, and then like physical damage. And they're all generally organized within the same areas of each other. And then there's also like quick links. So like if you know you've got a no power issue and you don't want to scroll past 15 other issues, you can just click no power and it'll take you to all the no power issues. And then we added some new issues on there as well. So grabbed some photos of some various physical damage that we've seen cause different issues. We also found a fix for the blinking volume buttons. Or not the blinking volume buttons. Ooh, I was totally on autopilot there for a sec. We found a fix for a popping and restarting behavior that we've seen a couple of times. I've got an amp floating around here somewhere that has the same behavior, but you can check the website for photos and details on that if you were having the same issues. But basically there's a missing resistor. And I've seen 3 amps now with the same popping and restarting. It's different than death farts. It doesn't play the whole death fart sound. It just pops and restarts. And of course it didn't show any DC offset. It was far below 50 millivolts. But somehow 3 amps I've seen the same resistor just completely missing. And once we pop it back on there, good to go. No more popping and restarting. And then some other enhancements that we've made around the house here. I have moved the microphone down to the desk, so that way whenever I bump into anything, it shouldn't be nearly as loud and painful. And I've also added foam in my little tray here for all of my tools, so when I pop them back in here, it's a lot quieter than it was before. It's still kind of noisy, but you want a little bit of noise. A lot of people like the ASMR experience, so I don't want to have any like too noisy noises. There's an acceptable level. Do I have any type of group chat other than YouTube live chat? I think I know what you're asking. Like, we have a Discord server. It's discord.gg/track44, but I thought you were in there. I could get the old TeamSpeak server up again. Okay, basket. Yeah, if anybody wants to join my Discord server, it's of course open to the public. It's not like purely dedicated to HomePods. We've been around and we've been dinking around on the internet for years. That's just where me and a couple of friends go and hang out. But anytime we do anything, like we hosted a few Mastodon instances in the past and various things where a Discord server serves a purpose. I'm trying to play with forums, but you're welcome to just chat in any channel, honestly, because it's not too active at the moment. Got a bunch of people talking about HomePods. That's cool. I like that. I like to talk about HomePods. Oh, I also added a fact section to the website. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that yet. It's been up there for a week or so, but I keep adding new things to it. Of course, as more people ask questions. It's at the very bottom. We got questions like, does this void my warranty? Which it does not. Where's my HomePod? Did you get my HomePod? How did you do the website? Is this your full-time job? And there are, of course, links to all of my social medias at the very top of the website. In the black bar at the top there, there's Discord, Twitter, YouTube, I think something else I can't remember. So yeah, take another peek at the website if you haven't in the past few weeks. Actually, in the past few days, really. There have been some fun little changes added here and there. Oh, let's poke. Speaking of Discord, let's poke our Discord server and let them know we're streaming here. Open Discord. Thank you. Thank you very much. There we go. Yeah, so if YouTube notifications are absolutely crap for you, as I've heard they are. I try to post in the announcements channel in our Discord server whenever I go live. So there's also a role in the server that you can assign yourself just called HomePods, and I ping the role if you don't want to get notified by every announcement, but just for the HomePod stuff. Usually it's just HomePod stuff. That's all we really have time for here and now. But maybe things will start slowing down and we'll get to spend a little more time on some other projects. I've got a stack of broken laptops that we need to get through. I'm gonna go crazy. Okay. Okay. One last little piece here. Let's get the top on. Oh yeah, we also lots of things. We also added a Czech repair partner and another German repair partner. So we've got 2 people in Germany on opposite ends of each other, and 1 in the Czech Republic. In addition to, man, where are we at now? We must have like 7 or 8 people there now. Let's see, mail-in repair. We've got United Kingdom, France. We've got 2 people in France. Denmark, Netherlands, Slovakia, Australia, Germany. 2 people in Germany. Spain, and the Czech Republic. Nice. Love to see it. Love to see it. What are we? Oh, it's still booting up.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more info.
Right on.
I'm having trouble.
Right on. All right, Mark is good to go. Okay, so next up we've got how do I pronounce that? Gillame. Let's let them know that we're getting started on theirs now. And I believe theirs might have no base. I'm very dedicated to those. Well, I mean, they're pretty damn good. And someone's got to keep them going. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here we go. Okay. Oh, speaking of ASMR, I know a lot of people like the Tex Yoda I've got over here. It's in a solid aluminum chassis, cherry blues, with the track point mouse built in. So I don't have, obviously I don't have much space on the desk, let alone for a mouse. So having it built into the middle of the keyboard here is nice. It also has 2 USB ports built in. But this sounds nice and all. Let me grab something else that I just got. This bad boy I managed to snag from Goodwill for around $100. And when I first bought this, I originally was getting it purely for the keycap set. Looks pretty cool. It's got some Spaceman stuff on there. But when I got it and opened it up, I was quite pleasantly surprised to find that this is the gold pink hot swappable switches with RGB, wireless, solid aluminum. And that's not even the best part, folks. This thing. This has got to be one of the nicest keyboards I've got, which I've got a pretty good handful of keyboards. They're not super nice, but this one is this is nice, man. Let me show you. So of course you get your braided USB cable, some stickers, extra modifiers, receiver, a little brush to keep things nice and clean, keycap and a switch puller because they are hot swap switches. And here is the best part. When I started typing on this, I was like, I gotta get myself more of these. Best sounding keyboard I've heard in person yet. That alone to me was worth the purchase, and then everything else, the build quality and the solid aluminum, nice keycaps, stickers. I'm a sucker for stickers, but you could have probably guessed that. I like my Apple products, so. Very nice. Anyways, let's let's get G's HomePod opened up here. We're gonna call him G because I cannot bear to butcher the pronunciation of their name another time. Okay. So, can't remember exactly what was wrong with theirs, but we're gonna go ahead and check. If it's not obvious, we will take another peek at our email. Ow. Okay. So, known good power cable. I think it has no base, but let's find out. Yep, so it's powering on. Ooh.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Popping since a long time and started making death farts. Okay, so they've got base. Maybe not for much longer, but let's try to save it here. But they've got some DC offset issues, which a lot of people will call death farts. Yikes. Let's get that apart. That was like 5 sneezes from little baby. She definitely gets that from my mom. Whenever my mom sneezes, it's got to be like minimum 3 of them. Average like 5 or 6 of them. I don't have that problem. I don't think my sisters ever did either. But the kid, man. You think she's gonna die? go. Direct to sound. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. What do you mean? Looks good to me. Probably looks good to you guys too. Slimy, yet satisfying. Oh, almost missed a couple there. Mayushi sees it just fine, so... I'm not worried about it. Woofer check. Looks good. Feels good. Smells good. Another subwoofer saved. Welcome to the stream, Raheem. I want to try to fix one myself, but I think it's only cheap if you're going to fix more than one. The initial price of all the materials and equipment, you could probably buy a new one. Okay. You could get away with a cheap $2 to $5 soldering iron. The hot air rework station, this guy that we use, was $60 on Amazon. And then flux and solder, I mean, you really want to get the good stuff, but you can get away with cheaper stuff if you're determined enough. And then a cheap T6 screwdriver, cheap flathead, some rubbing alcohol to help the prying. You don't need all the you don't need a whole bunch of fancy stuff to do what you see here. So all in, let's say you can get a broken HomePod for $60 to $100, which I know is pretty optimistic for a lot of people, but let's just say $60 to $100, and then $60 for the hot air station, $20 for some flux and solder, $20 for miscellaneous other tools, $10 to $20 in diodes. You know, get a couple of them. Like you said, if you've got the tools, you might as well buy a few more broken ones and make it worth your time. But I think you could easily get away with spending less buying a broken HomePod and buying the tools you need to fix it than, hell, even buying a first-gen working one, even in some cases. That sounds like a pretty fun challenge. This is like a what's the cheapest budget we can fix a HomePod on. Completely from scratch. How much would the broken HomePod cost? How much would all the tools cost? How much time is it going to take us with those cheap tools? But hey, my very first HomePod that I fixed, let's see, I didn't have the hot air station. I didn't have any experience, obviously, with any of these. It took me an hour or so just to get the top off. But I did it. I did it with nothing more than like a plastic credit card, my flathead, a T6 screwdriver, and my soldering iron. And, of course, a replacement diode for the no power issue. But you can get away with replacing the diode with just a soldering iron, but I really do not recommend it. Like, if you're absolutely, positively desperate, there are ways that you can do it with just a soldering iron. I do not recommend it, though. Basically just stab the old diode off, solder a new one onto the old bits, or if you've got a hot enough iron, you might be able to pump enough heat through the diode and get the whole thing to melt. Maybe you get some low melt solder into the diode, and then that might help get it off easier without a hot air gun. You don't need the hot air gun. There are other ways, but if you're going to be doing this multiple times, it might be best to get a hot gun, and it is a very easy thing to once you get used to it, get a little bit of experience. And the next thing you know, your name's up on a website offering repairs for other people. Hey, look, if you're in the U.S. and you fix HomePods and you offer like you want to offer HomePod repair services, I'm more than happy to put you up on my website too. That's about all I'll do aside from helping you with any questions you might have. But as with all my partners, there's really nothing special with any of the repair partners. That's the easy term to use for them. We're not really partners per se. It's more just people nominating themselves to offer HomePod repair services in other countries. But if you're in the U.S. and you want to offer HomePod repair services, there are certainly people who will take advantage of that if you're local. If you happen to have a shop that they can drop by. I'm happy to have the competition too. Or if anything, just having more people doing this. So we're going to have this connected to our multimeter here, which is connected to our subwoofer, which is connected to the amp. And we're going to check how much DC offset this has just to confirm what we think is going on. Hello, Sunflower. Welcome back to the stream. We are typically live with mail-in repairs every weekday at around 5 p.m. Pacific time. Sometimes the time changes, but I try to schedule the live stream at least a few hours in advance. Sometimes I can't get to it until it's time to stream. But we try to do it. We pretty much have HomePods showing up every day, so we pretty much have a stream every day. It's not too bad. Always got stuff to work on here. Always got HomePods breaking and coming in. When will they all be fixed? We've got 700 millivolts of offset here. That's pretty nasty. We don't want to see that more than 50 millivolts. and a pretty severe popping to accompany it. All precursors to, potential precursors to death farts, which will be triggered by the amplifier when it sees more than a few volts of that DC offset. That all happens because the filters on the amplifier love to go bad over time. I think it has a bit to do with just the nature of the filters, or the property of these filters, these capacitors. Any capacitor, any solid MLCC capacitor is going to lose its effectiveness to filter DC voltage over time. Oh yeah, okay, so if you've got a shop, if you've got like a website, if you've got ways for customers to reach you and get their HomePods fixed, shoot me an email, nick@nixfix.com. My contact info is also up on my website, nixfix.com. Shoot me in the email, let me know that you're in business and you want people to send their pods to you, and I'll put you up there. Just make sure that you stock up on enough of your own parts, because I don't sell, pretty typically do not sell parts to people. I have special exceptions once in a while, but I don't have the parts or resources to provide for other people offering repairs. Barely got enough to do our own here, as far as bass speakers and working logic boards are concerned. Alright, we forgot to turn on our iron, so we're going to let that warm up. Well, that one's gone. Good thing I ordered a couple hundred of these. Get a one fix and one maintenance? Yeah, sure thing. Take your time, of course. We'll be here. As I say, we'll keep fixing them until they stop breaking. That looks pretty freaking good. If we clean that up, you could not tell the difference. So if we flip that around really quick, we can see our power diode that normally fails and causes the common no power issue right here has a date code of 1748K, which we know very often fails. So we're going to just go ahead and replace that before it causes a problem later, especially because it has the 1748K date code on it, but also just because we because of that failure rate. Even if we're wrong about the date code, which based on the numbers we've been seeing, it would be incredible if we're wrong. But still, out of caution, we replace this diode in every HomePod repair. This one, however, definitely should be getting replaced. Even if it still works. Yeah, and it's not like a problem where they used like a weak or cheap diode for the job. Perfect for the job. That's not the problem. The problem appears to have been a bad batch of those diodes made in the 1746K to 1748K range. We've seen throughout all of the repairs, including not just no power. Throughout all the repairs, we've seen date codes ranging from 1726K all the way up to 1756K, I think, 1752K. And the only ones out of the hundreds that we've repaired, the only diodes that fail, 1746K and 1748K. The baby crying are actually HomePod cries. Yeah, that would make sense. I've got a whole bunch of broken ones just sitting in the closet. Just begging to see the light again. It's okay, little guys. I'll get to you eventually. Okay. So we've got new filter caps on there to get rid of the excess DC offset or DC voltage that we saw when we were testing. If we did our job well enough, we should see less than 50 millivolts, which would be a significant improvement from the, let's see, it was like 800 millivolts that we saw before we unplugged it. Where do you buy the extra diodes? So if you head over to my website, nixfix.com, go to the common issues section, and then find the no power issue for the diode. I'm pretty sure there's links for DigiKey and Mouser, as well as part numbers. So you can just Google the part number and find it wherever you can find it. As well as alternative part numbers. So the PDS 560-13 Schottky barrier diode is not the only diode that you can use. You're also able to use the PDS 560Q-13, which goes through extra testing and QA throughout the manufacturing process to ensure that it doesn't fail, which is designed for automotive applications, because the last thing you want is to be driving down the road at 70 miles an hour in your 4,000-pound missile and lose all control because of a dollar diode. There is also the PDS 760-13. The PDS 560-13 is the 5-volt 60 amp. The PDS 760, you guessed it, is the 7 amp. The 7 amp 60 volt version of this diode. Okay, so what's our offset? Forgot to bring the meter in here. Nice! 6 millivolts. That, my friends, is fixed. So let's get this put back together, and then with repairs for things like death farts, we leave them plugged into power to test them overnight, so that way we can just make sure that the farts don't spontaneously creep up on us again within a reasonable amount of time. we don't want to be keeping these things around for a week plus just to make sure. A few hours up to a day is plenty time to catch 99.9% of any issues you may still have. Hey, thanks for dropping by. Catch you again soon. Well, a little reminder for you while kiddo loses their mind in the background there. One like on this and all of my streams equals $1 towards the kids' college fund. Yes, it started as a joke, but it's also 100% serious. Let's see, folks. Will you be sending her to community college? Which, don't get me wrong, excellent. And far more than what I've got. Or will you be sending her to Harvard? It's all on you. One like equals $1. Is it appropriate to make jokes like that? I think so. I need to add a section to the website for tools that I have. That's something that a lot of people ask. That's what I'm saying. Do like 9 or 10 other people not want my kid to go to college? I mean, it's free. Come on, free for you. Cost me $1. And imagine if you go through all of my videos and you like all of them, you're potentially costing me dozens of dollars. But that's dozens of dollars for the kid. Sounds of the interstate. You don't hear everybody driving up and down it, but you definitely hear the knuckleheads giving it the gas. I'm one of those knuckleheads. Let's make sure everything still works.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet. For more, I'm having trouble.
All right. Everything checks out. No severe popping anymore. All good signs. We're good to go. Who do we have next? Let's see. Ooh. Let's get my Yushis. Alright. I think Mayushi is still here, yeah? Yes, you are. You've got a P.O. box on here. I presume it's okay to show your... No, I don't know. I'm just going to cover it up anyways. Okay. That should do. So let's get this opened up. We got the pod, and we've got a surprise. What's in the box? Ooh, more chocolate. Ooh, this is cool. Shit, I'm gonna have to translate this. We got some notes in here. Let's see what they say. Ah. Yes. I love the typewriter. Hi again, Nick. Another day, another HomePod. 3.8 watts from the wall. No response to any input. For those of you curious, I need to add this on the website too, but you don't need to generally confirm the power draw. If you're sending in a no power HomePod, if it's not powering on at all, that's the only confirmation we need. We've got a 100% success rate so far on those. Enjoy the treats. I also included a page from my newspaper from Japan. Oh, that is cool. I'm going to show this to the wife. And the wife is also a big fan of the dark chocolate, so thank you for this. What else do we have? This is another note. Oh. I wish this fell off my lap because it almost didn't. I wouldn't have noticed. Sorry, I had to take a second there to calm myself back down. Let's get all this put away for now and get their pod fixed up. Thank you very much, Mayushi. Much appreciated. Okay. Here's the pod. Let's get their name on the screen. And trust no one. Let's check those symptoms ourselves with a known good power cable. No response at the pod. About 5 watts of power draw here, give or take a watt, of course. This thing is not that sensitive, not that accurate. But we've seen what we need to see. We've confirmed what's needed to be confirmed. Let's get this taken apart. See if we've got the usual dead diodelio See if we've got the usual dead diodelio going on here. Oh, Mayushi, I think you're pretty far behind the stream now. Unless my latency is just really high. Come on. Stupid fucking door. And now that's just randomly playing stuff. That's cool. It's not even Monday. That's a good use of some wasted money there. I like that. No, never. I never. I was never gonna expect somebody to have done that to me, and you did it. I thought I was gonna get away in life without getting rickrolled once, but damn it. Which is better or easier to fix, the diode or the capacitor from DC offset? Definitely the diode, because if you're doing a DC offset repair, you may as well replace the diode while you have it apart. Whereas if you're getting one with just a dead diode, chances are its filter caps are still good. You'll want to test it, of course, while you've got it apart. Test it and make sure. You don't want to do all that work, get it put back together, and have it nuke the bass speaker a few months later just because it has it had a whole bunch of DC offset before it lost power. Plenty of people let these things sit around with issues before they stop powering on, which, you know, multiple issues can happen to these things over the course of their lifetime, all unrelated from each other. So you got to keep that in mind when you're buying broken ones. They may not just have the issue that you're expecting, and also sellers tend to not know what they have or how to describe it, or they're just flat out freaking lazy, which is stupid when it comes to things, especially when you're talking about things that start costing more than like $100 or so. Like, come on, take more than 5 seconds to list the thing and describe what's wrong with it, instead of just doesn't work, 4 parts. Thanks, dude. Does it power on? Is it bricked? Give me something. Yeah, and then you've got sellers that are like, it won't power on. So you buy it, and then you get it, and it powers the fuck on to blinking volume buttons. And you're like, bro, this shit powers on. And they're like, no, it didn't work with my phone. It doesn't work for parts of repair. And it's like, whatever. I'm still going to take this thing apart and use most of the parts from it. Sucks that I don't have a working logic board when I expected one. But I guess you just can't expect everybody to be HomePod wizards. God forbid you're able to distinguish the difference between something that powers on or not. Alright, place your bets. 1746K or 1748K? 1746K. A. Yeah. Is it dead? Yes, it is. That is a dead diode. Let's get it replaced. Come on. You're squishing. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Let's make sure this works. We don't have any other issues. Oh, we've got a rogue sticker in here. What's that? U2845C8. I don't know, some weird quality control stuff probably. We don't need that floating around in there. I gotta stop doing this. If I put the ribbon cable in first before the power supply, I won't need to grab a tool to lock the connector in. I can just use my fingers and then pop the power supply in. It'll be a lot quicker. Just an old habit. And 500 or so HomePods into this, it gets harder and harder to break habits. Even if it means a faster, more efficient repair. Oh, and we've been doing it for over a year. Well, hey, I didn't even realize, but we've got power. So we'll give that a sec to boot up. We know it's not a power supply or logic board issue because we confirmed the diode was dead. And we've got good sound. Our offset says 85. Okay, that's a little too high for my... Like, I could leave it, and it would probably be fine. But... I say 50 millivolts, we're going to hold to it. 50 millivolts. No more. And we've got 80. It's still relatively low, and still too low to really cause any issues. But we're just going to nip it in the bud. We don't want this thing coming back. If we still have 80 millivolts after replacing them with new caps, then that'll be okay. I'll be happy with that, knowing that we've got good caps in there. 50 millivolts is a pretty... I feel like it's a fairly arbitrary number, but that's just when you Google for DC offset and you do research on the topic, because it's not just a problem with HomePods. It's pretty much any Class D amplifier is going to have this problem. When you're dealing with these, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Shit. Let's just get this done. Anyways, with fresh caps on here, even if we have the same offset afterwards, I'll feel a lot better. Out of curiosity, do you also stream the dyeing of the color? I've done one live stream doing it. It's difficult because I don't have to do it over Wi-Fi, but it's obviously way more convenient. This thing is being a total freaking butthole. But it also takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour at least to dye the HomePod. And that's just the process of dyeing the mesh. There's also taking it apart, letting it dry, and then putting it back together again. Which, overall, the whole process takes a few days. But I would like to live stream more of them. I just need to be a little less lazy. Got a little too much goo over there. Alright, you freaking butthole. Come on. Let's go. There we go. It's not the prettiest, but they are sure as shit not going anywhere. Oh yeah, the procedure, whether I put them all four at once or just one at a time, that's just literally how I feel. I had a feeling this one was going to be difficult, so I didn't want to try for all four at once. That, Seth, is my favorite part about... Well, one of my favorite... Top three favorite things about soldering and electronics repairs. Watching the solder liquefy. Also seeing all the components basically just with the surface tension just suck into place where you need them to go perfectly every time. Minimal effort. It's like magic. People wonder how you're so good at it. Most of it's just flux and heat, and it just does the job for you. Alright, cool. We still got base. And our offset. Oh, wow. We're down to 0. 1 millivolt. Hell yeah. Can't get much better than that. Okay. I think this is the last one that we're going to do here today. Started a little later than usual. Wednesdays tend to be later starts. Yeah, for the subwoofer specifically, since it's sealing, we do the classic pattern. For anything else that doesn't actually seal, it doesn't really matter. That subwoofer, we like to try to do those in a half decent order to keep it all nice and centered. I mean, we've also definitely put them in just totally going around in a circle, and it hasn't been a problem. But the same could be said for, like you said, putting a wheel on your car. It'll work, but like, there's a better way. There's a way that works every time. There's a way that works, and there's a way that works every time. Yeah. Ooh, so, been getting a bunch of goodies in to work on my 1986 Nissan 300ZX with the 5-speed manual and the 2+2, so the 4-seater. I'm a sucker for big booties, so we ended up with a 3-row aluminum radiator to upgrade from the stock non-turbo 2-row copper version from, and mind you, all of these parts that I'm replacing are original. So we're replacing that with a 3-row aluminum rad. We're going to be replacing the Ford Taurus, the 2001 Ford Taurus electric fan that we're using now with a couple of modern electric fans. I got some 450cc clean injection injectors, flow matched, pressure tested, rated, all that good stuff, paperwork provided, and some beefy fuel rails and fuel pressure regulator to support it. And of course, all that extra fuel is no good without extra air from the CX Racing GT3071 dual ball bearing T3 turbo. We've got a stage 2 clutch that'll help transfer the power from that 60,000 mile Nissan Maxima engine that we procured to the transmission. And we've got a couple of little dress-ups for the engine as well. We've got some fresh coolant hoses, got some stainless steel hardware for the exhaust manifolds, because I'm so sick of breaking exhaust studs in this engine, dude. Oh, and some stainless steel valve cover bolts, because the ones that I have now are stripped to hell. I've currently got it set up on a cheap $100 eBay T3 turbo with the stock 260cc injectors, but I've raised the base fuel pressure from, I think it's like 37 or 45 psi up to 75 psi, and just so I could, have more fuel for more boost. But I got tired of doing it the wrong way and stepped up to some real big boy injectors. And I figured, well, if I'm going to get some nice injectors, I might as well pair it all up with a half decent turbo, not just the bottom of the barrel cheapest thing you can find on eBay, but we'll spend a few more bucks on this one. I'm looking forward to ball bearing, because turbos classically are purely oil bearing, or journal type bearing, which just uses a thin film of oil on the turbine shaft to give it the spins. But modern turbos use ball bearings, ceramic ball bearings, because you can't just stick any ball bearings in there. That shit gets hot, and it spins fast. So you need some serious balls in there. And ceramic's the material for the task. But with your ball bearing, it's much quicker and much smoother power delivery. You get boost earlier on because it takes less force to spin the turbo. And of course, none of that would make any sense if I didn't have a way to tune any of it. But I've already got Nistune. Of course, I did it myself. I chipped the stock ECU so that way I could use Nistune on it and do some real-time tuning. I'm getting there. I've blown up a few motors out of negligence and or ignorance, but everybody learns, and I think I've learned enough, so I hopped on a really low mileage motor. Considering the motor is almost 40 years old, 60,000 miles for the motor that I'm going to be putting in there, that's pretty damn good. Oh, and I've also got the copper head gasket, because I'm sick of blowing head gaskets, and we're going to bolt that sucker together with some ARP head studs. Ooh, you had a 71 240Z with an RB24. Man, I would love to get my hands on one of those, but I got lucky enough as it is with timing-wise getting my hands on my Z. I paid $2,000 cash for it 10 years ago, and prices have gone up for those cars a little bit. Alright, so we've got power, but I almost got my hands on a 240. It was just a little out of my price range at the time. Safari Gold, oh my god.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Alright, sounds good. Looks good. Alright. Folks, we got everything that we can fixed up today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. As always, I suggest everybody check the website, nixfix.com, where I've got info on doing your own repairs under common issues, and my contact info, so that way you can reach out to me and start the repair process if you wanted to get it done here on the channel. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair,